I proceed in putting him in his wheelchair. The school bus comes at 7:50 and he goes off to school.
Nearly 2 hours after waking from whatever dreams he dreams, Danny moves out from the safety of his home to the greater world beyond. And one wonders what he sees with those bright, clear eyes, and what he feels, what he thinks, what he knows of the world around him.
Look at her front yard.
There seems to be an acute awareness in his eyes, a fundamental sweetness in his expression, a sense of the air, of the earth, and certainly of others. Although he is helpless to help himself, his eyes reflect an inner life that is rich and alive and whole.
I've always thought that maybe all of his brain didn't form, but in place of that, he has stronger senses than maybe what we do. He is so happy, and he smiles most of the time. He enjoys life, even with all the problems he has and the things he cannot do. He is happy with life.
Just a minute. Let's read the rest of it.
At school, little by little, Danny's horizons are widened. He builds experience upon experience. He feels the vibration of a blender. But it is after school, in the lap of his family, that the boy who has been immobile for so long feels the high-hearted joy of motion.
My dad has a Kawasaki mule, which is a four-wheel vehicle. And that has excited all of us. Christy loves it, but even more, Danny loves it. It has a seat and it has seat belts. So Christy would drive, and then I would sit on the other side of the seat and have Danny in my lap, belted in. And we would go down through some woods. And he has never, I don't think, for anything shown the excitement that he showed riding on that mule down through the wooded area. He just loved it. And he watches the trees and everything. It was really neat to see that.
There is a failing we have, an innocent blindness, that seems to descend on us when we encounter the handicap. We equate their physical appearance with their intellect and comprehension. We treat them as if they don't understand. We talk about them as if they weren't there. But they are there, listening, understanding, hurt. These are not acts of cruelty on our part, but the result is cruel all the same.
It's difficult to be, as I said, in a world with adults that turn away from a child with a disability rather than be able to treat them more like another child.
At first it bothered us. People would just stare, and we had a hard time dealing with that. We didn't know how to deal with it, but we're getting better at it.
When you see a child that has braces on, when you see a child that's not verbal, it doesn't mean that child's not bright. And it doesn't mean that child doesn't have a whole lot to offer. But all too often we make that judgment. And I really think that even I made that judgment before I had a child with special needs. But we have to, it's our responsibility to look at these special children and special people as complete.
Jessica Liao opens her eyes to a new day. They are magical eyes, the eyes of an angel, reflecting hidden depths, windows to a world we can't know.
They told me that she won't be able to walk, and she's not walking. She won't be able to sit down, and she's not sitting yet by herself. And she's not doing any of that. But I think she's doing much more. Like, she wakes up at 6:30, and she always wakes up with a smile. Even if she's not talking and she's not walking at all, she's communicating through signs, sounds, and through her eyes. I know her eyes, and when she sees me, I know what she's trying to tell me. I think she understands a lot more than we think. she's so happy to go to school. As soon as she sees the school bus, she's excited and she really loves the school. Everything is great for her. She enjoys everything.
In general, children with HPE seem unusually happy. But because they are unable to speak, their feelings often come to the surface quickly and unexpectedly. What they are unable to express in words, they often express in tears of frustration. Jessica may look like an angel, but like any child her age, her behavior can sometimes become far from angelic.
She's like mad and screaming. She likes to make me work. And if she goes to her brother's bedroom, she makes a mess because they have all the books on the bottom, and she just take the books and just throw them. And she loves to play with her brothers, like when they start running or jumping or playing with a ball. She really has fun. You cannot believe how she laughs. She really enjoys it.
Seth was given no more than 30 days, probably less. Take him home, the doctor said. Love him and bond with him, because he will be gone within a month. It is amazing what love can do. Today he is 1 year old, and his parents are throwing a party.
I remember just praying and asking God, if I'm going to have Seth for a short time, that I want to enjoy the time that I have with him. I don't want to just remember the bad times. You know, I wanted to remember him. Every day he was smiling, and he was like trapped inside this little body, and something needed to be done.
And they were wrong about a lot of stuff. He wasn't going to make it. And he was strong. He made it. I wouldn't take $1 million for that. I wouldn't take $1 million for having him here today.
I feel lucky to have him. He has been such a joy to have. I mean, just to see him smile. And they told us he wouldn't smile, he wouldn't laugh, and he does all that. He smiles, he laughs, he coos.
It is true that great strides forward have been made in the treatment of children with HPE. Enormous reason for hope. But it is also true that those motor functions that orchestrate the symphony of living are those functions most affected by HPE. Those children most severely affected will probably die quite young. For Seth, the struggle for breath, for life, became more than his body could bear. A few weeks after his first birthday, his small heart stopped. He slipped away to the mystery we all once knew and will know again.
Seth taught me to cherish life. I see things differently. Like I watch kids play, and you know, I don't take anything for granted anymore. It may sound funny, but when Seth passed away at the graveside, the funeral, it was a calm day, you know. The wind started blowing. So now when the wind blows, I think of Seth blowing me a kiss every day.
Getting up every day and going to work, and then thinking, I can't wait to get home so I could be with him. It was great. And I didn't think about problems that he had. I thought of him as my son, and I just loved him like a normal baby and put all that other problems that he had aside.
You have to close your lips, okay? Close your lips.
His name is Chance. Soon after his birth, he was diagnosed with HPE. Now he is 4. At first, it would seem that he is involved in play, but actually he is working at a far more serious task. With the help of therapists, he is struggling to possess 2 of the most profound aspects of human experience.
Do you see a number 3 on your card?
That's right.
The ability to impact his environment with his hand and to communicate thoughts from his mind to the mind of another. And it is here that we see the indomitable spirit, the courage of these children. Chance knows what he wishes to do.
Which one says he?
But to get the message from his mind to his hand requires struggle of immense proportion.
Okay, Chance, get that.
What to us would be a simple act, for him is an exhausting test of will.
Yeah!
There are times when he falters, but little by little he begins to release that little boy trapped inside.
Looking back on that, that was the most devastating aspect of the whole diagnosis, was a total absence of hope. And that's what we need, and that's what every parent who receives such a diagnosis needs, is a whole big heaping dose of hope.
Yeah. She got it in! Okay, I'm gonna get another one. Yeah!
I can't imagine any diagnosis that you could receive if there's not something you can do. Don't just tell me to go home and love that child and see what happens. What a hopeless, horrible feeling to not feel that you can help your child.
What about his seating, balance, and...
Christy and Hal Urschel did not let the hopeless, helpless feeling linger very long. They began gathering all the information about HPE that they could find. They were determined that something could be done.
You know, at this point in time, Chance has difficulty communicating. We're not verbal yet, and we're searching to find the right way of having him communicate with all of us. Right now we're doing a combination of eye gaze, of augmentative communication. We're investigating and working with computer technology that he can do a visual gaze, and it can be voice activated. But if you're not able to communicate, I think the greatest risk is being misunderstood. And being misunderstood that he's not bright, that he's not smart.
He is such a joy. He can give you more love with his eyes than some people receive in a lifetime. That's the joy.
He's the most special young man. Just because he can't do some things doesn't mean he's not as smart. And we have to constantly stay up with him because he's very sharp. Chance and I play hide and go seek. We play chase. I'm not supposed to give him candy, and I do. You know, I feed him treats. I do all kinds of things. But Chance does everything that we do. And talk about a joy. He's brought our family closer. The other grandchildren adore him, look after him, protect him.
The search for the best therapies and treatments for Chance was a continuing voyage of discovery. There was nothing out there in the way of information or support. The Urschel and Carter families had the resources to gather what was needed for Chance. But what of families of lesser means? How would they turn the corner from the initial shock and fear of the diagnosis? How would they bring the best that science and medicine had to offer to the treatment of their child? Chance's parents and grandparents widened their focus from Chance to all children with HPE.
You all heard that? Rebecca says, I have holoprosencephaly. Thanks for sharing, Rebecca.
Together they created the Carter Centers for Brain Research in Holoprosencephaly and Related Malformations. At a meeting of parents, Dr. Urschel explained,
The Carter Centers is an initiative that we decided to put together about 3 years ago when we were met with the same doom and gloom that a lot of the parents here had experienced in the medical community. And our goal was to go out and find hope.
The main goal of this treatment initiative was to try and integrate all of the data and information in a way so that we could find a cure much more quickly than if we just used our local physician. We chose 3 clinical centers around the country and decided to make them the clinical centers of excellence for holoprosencephaly. One of the centers we chose was at Stanford University in California on the West Coast. One of the centers was at Texas Scottish Rite Hospital in Dallas, Texas, in the center of the country. And one of these was at Kennedy Krieger Institute at Johns Hopkins University on the East Coast. We chose these 3 geographically dispersed locations so that it would make it easier for the families to get to them depending on where the patient was diagnosed.